Hello, Revere, and welcome to another great show. Today we have a great counselor here. His name is Steve Morabito, Counselor at Large. Steve, welcome to the Revere TV show, of Revere Veterans and Community, actually. And you are a veteran of the community, so thank you for coming. And before we start the show, Steve, tell us a little about yourself.
First, let me thank you for having me here, and thank you because you are the true veteran. And I can't even express my gratitude for all the military men and women who sacrifice their lives each day just so we have the freedom we have today in America. Thank you. A little bit about myself. I grew up in Revere, went to the old Garfield School, elementary school, the old Garfield. Do you remember that, Morris?
Yes, I do.
Then I actually went to Beachmont School. Then I went back to the new Garfield School, which is not so new right now. And then I went to graduated from Revere High School, and I got my bachelor's in business management from Salem State afterwards. I worked at Johnny's Food Master as a manager in Revere. Currently, I am in the real estate profession and also working at Staples as a GM.
Right, before we start, I remember you working at Johnny's Food Master. What made them go out of business? Because, you know, they were very good and people used to do a lot of shopping. Was it the big stores coming in to the city?
Well, I believe there was so much competition. At the time, the economy was tumbling. It was just hard to make a profit. In the grocery business, profits are pennies, literally penny profits on items. And I think he had an opportunity to sell out some of his leases to Whole Foods, and that's what he did. John DeJesus, who was the owner, sold out most of his leases to Whole Foods.
When I first came to Revere, Steve, and I have to tell you this before we get into the crux of the questions, I lived on Florence Avenue. Coincidentally, you also live on Florence Avenue?
Correct.
Right, I lived at number 67.
It's a beautiful neighborhood.
It was up the hill, except in the wintertime.
I call it the hills of Shirley Ave.
Do you?
Yeah.
See, but I used to save gas in the wintertime because I could pull my car up, just give it a little speed, put the brakes on, and slide right down the hill to where I was going.
Or better yet, you could just put it in neutral and slide down.
Okay. Very good, Steve. But leave the jokes over here.
Okay, I will.
First of all, let's get started. You first ran for city councilor in Ward 2. Then you ran for councilor at large and lost in a recount by 3 votes. And who was the person you lost to? Do you remember?
John Correggio.
Oh, he's running again as councilor.
Correct.
Then you ran. You then ran for city councilor at large again and were elected. And we were lucky to have you elected because you've been a great councilor in the city of Revere, but most of all, you've been a great person for us at the Revere Senior Center. Thank you again for that.
You're welcome.
Right? What was the motivation for a very impressive effort to get elected as a city councilor in Revere? And tell us what you've done while you've been on the council, too.
You know, Morris, it took a lot of perseverance, but the motivation would be the people who support you. Any politician will tell you, you're only as good as the people who support you. If it weren't for the people who hold signs in the rain, that come out when they're not feeling so well, you wouldn't have that backing and you wouldn't have that motivation to excel to the next level. And honestly, when I lost the recount, I wasn't thinking of running again. There was a former customer of Johnny's Food Master and a constituent of mine who was sick and told me, you have to run. I'm like, she's like, you know, last year, 2 years ago when I voted for you, she's like, I went to chemo treatment that day and I was feeling really, really sick. And I really forced my husband to take me to the polls, even though he said, you're not feeling well. She's like, I made my husband go to the polls just so I can cast a vote for you. And she said, she's like, you know, we all support our sports team. She's like, well, you're my political team. And she's like, you can't let me down. So it's thousands of people like that who give you the motivation, like I said before, to excel and keep going. And any politician will tell you the same thing. Without them and without the people who support you, you're nothing.
You're absolutely right, but the people I'm sure will support you because you're doing an excellent job and have done an excellent job.
All I can do is try my best.
Next question for you, and then we're going to reiterate on a few of these things.
Sure.
What do you feel is your main contribution as a councillor in your first term? Because this was your first term.
You know, the interesting thing about when you're a candidate versus getting elected and being a councillor is when you're a candidate, you think you can make all these changes immediately. You say, I'm going to cut this, and you're going to save so much money. But in the end result is that there is so many items on the budget that are mandated by the state that you can't even touch or cut. So my first term has been a learning process with...
You've done an excellent job.
Yeah, it's been a learning process between... I've been appointed by the council president 2 years in a row, 2 different council presidents. I was appointed on 6 or 7 of the 11 subcommittees. And each subcommittee in itself is a learning process because it takes, so I'd say my first term was learning a lot, educating myself, and researching a lot. It's just a constant flow of educating yourself, I'd have to say. But one main contribution, I would say, is public health. I've been a big advocate for public health. At first, I tried to increase the age of tobacco sales to 21 over the next 3 years. Didn't go too well with the businesses, but my main concern wasn't to hurt the businesses, and it was more to protect the youth of our community. And it's a learning process. It really is. And I feel now I've not only learned a lot, I've gained a lot of experience. Think about in my first 2 years, not only did we have a tornado, we've had a record-breaking winter with snowfall and a blizzard. It's just, I've gained a lot of experience and knowledge my first term. And another contribution, I'm the chair of Elder Affairs for the City Council Subcommittee, and I've been very helpful in the sense of using the City Council chambers to let the seniors come into the council chambers and express their needs and use it as a platform so their voice can be heard as well.
Right, Steve, mentioning about the Council of Elder Affairs. I happen to be on the Council of Elder Affairs at the Senior Center, and we got a new director that just came on not too long, Steve Fielding, who's done an excellent job. I'm sure you know him in there. And you're always down there for us. What future things do you see coming up for the Senior Center, if possible?
Well, I think by next year, I'd like to put a little more focus on the senior center. I'll tell you, I'll be blatantly blunt with you, okay?
That's what we want.
I've been going to the senior center for over 6 years. In the last year that I've walked in there every other Thursday or every other holiday on a Thursday, the complaints have increased. They have multiplied by the dozens. Everyone is complaining about the senior center. Such as, for instance, one was the air conditioner, which was finally resolved. The roofing.
That was an act of God.
The ramp was finally replaced. But I think it's very crucial for the future of the senior center that we keep up with fixing the senior center, but not just a Band-Aid approach. We need to resolve the problem. And I think we need to focus on that as a council as a whole next year and try to appropriate funds.
I have to tell you, there are a lot of seniors in Revere that do not come to the senior center, and they should, because they get a lot of good things, knowledge over there. You know, new things that come out, benefits and things like that. For example, there's a trip now that I understand that the honor flight that you see on the scroll on Revere TV.
Yes.
We had a gentleman, Joe Byron, come up here from New Hampshire, and because of that, he came to our senior center, and a lot of the seniors had the honor, literally, of going to Washington, D.C. on the honor flight at no cost to them, only because they came to the senior center and they gained their knowledge about that over there. So I would like to see every senior in the city of Revere call up the senior center at 781-286-8156, and come on down, as we say in TV.
And that's, Morris, that's another good point. That's another thing I tried to do when last year when I had a subcommittee meeting of the Elder Affairs. I had Steve Fielden come up.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there. You're always there, and I thank you for helping out the seniors as well, you know.
I do the music, that's all I do.
Is that why the seniors throughout the city aren't coming there?
No, that's not
Aren't
the
going
reason,
there?
but the reason I do the music, let me tell you, no, it's nice because when the seniors do come there, they throw things at me when I played the music, and if they didn't, I would have nothing to eat, so I'm lucky.
We don't want that, right?
Okay.
But yeah, I've used that subcommittee as a platform so people, they could, the senior center could also showcase their events, upcoming events as well. Because I think it's very important for the rest of the seniors to realize that they're welcomed, that it's not just a click.
Oh, no, no. What the seniors have to do, the ones that would like to come down, and if the people who are watching this show really and have never been there, they should, because beside the food, they have bocce, they have Zumba, they have activities there. They go on trips. You know, we have people there that do everything. We have one of the most beautiful ladies in the city of Revere. Her name is Lois Diamond. I'm sure you've met her, the Director of Activities. She does so much for the seniors, the sewing. I'm not going to go into it. Folks, you got to come down there and see it for yourself.
Yeah, the whole staff is great there.
Oh, yeah.
The whole craft. Even the cooking crew, the kitchen crew, they're unbelievable too. They work tirelessly.
They do. And because of that, you see a lot of seniors that are overweight now.
Yeah. Obesity in America. Obesity in America.
Because the food is so good over there.
You said that. I didn't.
No, I know that. No, that's all right. Forgive me, Steve. I'd like to read a question to you. One of the seniors asked me if it's okay with you.
Sure.
One of the main complaints of the people of Revere, especially the seniors, because that's where it was given to me, is the high water bills. Why are they so high, and what can be done about it? To the senior who gave me this question, thank you.
You know, we're in a consent decree, which doesn't help with our tax rates, and we're contracted with the MWRA, which basically ties us up to basically not be able to lower the rates. But I'll tell you one thing: we were in violation of the EPA because of a lot of our piping that was constructed. I'm dating, I don't know, maybe like about
100 years or more.
Yeah,
or more.
They were. At the time, it wasn't illegal piping, but right now it's considered illegal piping. They're all being replaced, and I'm sure the viewers have seen, and you have seen,
on Winthrop Avenue, right
throughout
down.
the city,
Right.
there has been pipe replacements, and eventually down the road, this is supposed to stabilize the tax rate, the water rate.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, because before what was occurring was water, there was sewer seepage through the ground. So not only was it not environmentally safe, it was just costing us a lot of money as well.
Here's a good question for you. I have a solution to this question, by the way. Another complaint was the potholes. Why are there so many, and what can be done? Before you answer that question, I have a solution for the potholes. All you had to do was pick them up and move them somewhere else, and that would have ended the whole story here. But they didn't do that. So you tell us about it.
Well, I'd welcome that. If you have the magic to make that happen, I'm sure think you'd be the next mayor of Revere.
No, I don't want to be the next. I think we have an excellent mayor right now. But anyway, we did have a lot of potholes.
We did. I think being a New England city, a city in New England, we have unorthodox weather. Let's face it, we're not Florida, we're Massachusetts.
Would you believe I still have my heat on in June?
No, I can't.
Yeah, I turned the heat on this month. A few times we had, where the temperature was in the 40s in June.
Is that because you're a cold person?
No, that's because my house has no windows.
Good. That's a good one. But in regards to the potholes, what happens is the asphalt takes a beating with the snow and the salt, and we do a pretty decent job of maintaining the roads, and the salt just deteriorates the asphalt. And over time, by the time the spring comes, we have all these potholes. The road becomes brittle and it breaks apart. And I think it's one thing at the budget meeting, Councillor Guinasso brought up, and it was a good point. You know, we're taking free cash to balance our budget. Why can't we take free cash to put funds away to fix potholes? I can't even count the numerous amount of phone calls I've received, emails this past winter. We had a record-breaking winter. People called me about potholes nonstop. I think if we could come up with a solution, and that seems to be on the road to the right solution, I think we'll make a lot of people in Revere happy. You know, but what happens is it's an issue that's not going to be resolved because each year it's reoccurring because of the maintenance of the snow.
Right. You know, during the snowstorm that we had, this record-breaker snowstorm, especially not only my street where I live on Standish Road, but other streets, you couldn't get two cars. If one was going up the street one way, the other one coming down could not bypass them because the snow was so high and piled so high. But South Boston, ironically, came up with the most excellent solution that I've ever seen. Is what they did, they made certain streets one way, even though they were two-way streets, but for the time being, they were going to be one way, so the cars could only go one way, and that cut out the blockage. So if we should ever have another snowstorm like we had this year, maybe it'd be good to make certain streets just one-way streets for, let's say, till the end of 2 weeks or 3 weeks till we clear it, because people would sometimes have road rage. You know, you move your car, I'm not going to move mine, or vice versa. And I've seen that.
Well, there was discussion this past winter to convert some streets to one-ways.
Right.
It obviously would be trial and error. So, some people living on the street might like it, some might not. So I think it will be an approach that we take as a city. I know the mayor was interested in doing that, as well as the city council. It's just a matter of planning it and trial and error, basically.
I have to say the fire department did a terrific job during the snowstorm, and so did the police department. So to you folks, thank you.
Oh, our first responders, you have to give them credit. They've had a very responsive last year. The tornado, record-breaking winters, as I mentioned before, and they have to get through all the snow piles. They have at the tornado, when the tornado occurred, they had to get through all the debris just to be a first responder, and they basically did an outstanding job, and I give them an applause. They really
Right, you know, you open up the TV and you see them criticizing the police in certain cities. I'll be honest with you, like Baltimore, Ferguson. I think those people out there are doing the wrong thing by doing that, because it's the police that protect those people, really. And you need the police, otherwise you would have anarchy in this country, really.
You know what I say about our first responders, our police, fire, class act.
That's right.
And I truly believe the leadership in those departments. And throughout our city, we have department heads who are class acts. And I think it's very important to have department heads who are approachable, try to relate with the people, and try to put themselves in the shoes of the people. And I think every department head we have, for the most part, can do that.
I consider them as part of the greatest police veterans of the community, and the ones that are serving in the police force, just as equal as if they were in the military, because the military protects us nationwide, the police protect us local-wide. So thank you out there for doing your job. Before we continue, Steve, we give flags to military veterans, and we give them to community veterans who deserve them. And this is from the city of Revere, the Revere Veterans, under the direction of Nick Boer, who happens to be a great Veterans Affairs Administrator here. So this is for you. Just don't hit me with it. That's all I ask.
Thank you. I'm honored.
You brought up something that I'd like to mention to you.
Yeah.
I just gave you this flag.
Yeah.
During the Second World War, that represented to us the great nation of the United States of America for freedom. We just had a problem not too long ago down in South Carolina with the Confederate flag. Mm-hmm. Now they're talking about taking away Old Glory. And the way I feel about it, to the people in the South, the Confederate flag should be kept in private, and the American Old Glory should be the one flying over every state house, all 50 states, and be the only flag over the state house. That doesn't mean you cannot have a Confederate flag. You can put it in your own backyard, you can put it in the front of your house, on your own private property, but not on public property, because to some people, it's criticism.
Offensive.
It's offensive, correct. Now, they try to equate the Confederate flag with the Nazi flag. There is no comparison between the two flags. One of them says because of the slaves that were down south, the other one because of the genocide. And there was no genocide against the slaves, but there was genocide against other people under the Nazi flag. Mm-hmm. So the folks don't equate the two. But if you want to see the real flag freedom, you're looking at it right here. This represents the freedom of this country. This is the flag, Old Glory, and this should be over every single state house in the country.
I completely agree with you, Morris.
That's right, because, you know, people, I was in the Army when I was 17. I mean, now they take them at 18, and they don't even have a listed Army. Mm-hmm. It's a volunteer Army now, you know. To me, just serving my country was the biggest thrill in my lifetime, and I still remember it like it was only yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I was stationed in Germany. I was stationed in Austria as a young kid, and I saw what happened during the war. I wasn't in the war itself because I got in 46, but I saw what was in the DP camps, the mm-hmm. people that came out the concentration camps, and the Nazis who got their brain whitewashed by the Gestapo on Hitler's philosophy over there. Some of them still have that same philosophy today. Even in America, people talk like that today,
It's
Steve.
unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
Right. Now, we still have about 3 minutes and a half. Why don't you spend a couple of that and take it away?
Well, as you know, election year is coming up. In my past campaigns, my campaign slogan was, "Don't give up on Revere, I never will." I continue to believe this. And I believe the people should not give up on Revere. There are so many assets Revere has, including Revere Beach, and we have to develop the intricacies in an economic policy plan in policy making to make a plan and carry it out. And I think it's very important that we, as a city, stay connected and not divided. And I think what's going on right now is you have so many people who want to see Revere in different lights. You see someone who wants Revere Beach all residential. You see someone who wants Revere all commercial. And I think the most important thing is to have a good mixture. And we need to lower the bring in commercial so we can lower or at least stabilize the current tax rate for the taxpayers. And I think that's a goal. And I truly believe, you know, my first term was a learning experience, and I gained the knowledge and experience my first term, and I think you're going to see a lot of action out of me in my second term.
And I'd like to add to that, if I may, Steve. Revere is very diversified. We have people from the Middle East, we have people from Asia, we have people from
mm-hmm.
Europe, we have people from Africa.
Mm-hmm.
We even have people, in other words, we have people from all 7 continents
mm-hmm.
in the world right here in Revere.
Yeah, exactly.
And this represents a true melting pot. Mm-hmm. And you people are the ones that keep it that way, and it's nice. So I'm going to say to all the people out there in Revere, thank you for listening to our show. Thank you for having me having a great
Lord,
guest come on
thank you
our
very
show,
much.
Steve. God bless you, and I hope you succeed in your election campaign. And
Thank
God
you.
bless our troops, the city of Revere, but most of all, God bless our great country, the United States of America. And Steve, thank you again for
Thank
coming
you,
up.
Morris. Thank you for having me.
It was an honor and a pleasure, and I
Thank
wish you the
you.
best of luck on your campaign. Thank you.
Thank you.